What is up, guys? We are back with some Lorcana content, and let me tell you, after playing on Pixelborn and in person, specifically in person, because in person feels, you know the feel. Nothing beats better. Nothing beats that. But it's been great, and we've been testing a lot of different decks. I built my little gauntlet of decks, and today we're going to be profiling or featuring one of them, which is one of my favorites. I want to rank this as like my top 2 for sure. And of course, it revolves around steel. Steel's become my favorite color, which is like the gray color, and we are pairing it with Sapphire, which is blue. So this is more of like a control ramp deck. It's really just built to kind of like ramp up your ink and just start drawing into gas. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys, before we get into the deck, make sure you guys check out our website for this beautiful 2-player Lorcana playmat. It actually can fold up as a 1-player as well too, and it has all the lore up here. Patrons and customers have been really loving this playmat to kind of just make sure that they can keep track of everything going on in the game. And now into the deck, I want to start with the items first, which is a little bit, odd way to start things, but I think this deck kind of like lives and dies by its items a lot of the time, so we're going to kind of go over them briefly. So first, we're going with 4 Beast Mirror. So Beast Mirror, I've been playing this at like 2, 3, and 4. I think it's really important to make sure that we can land this before a whole new world. So typically you want to go like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, which is your Mickey or your Quill or something, and then kind of like play 1 more card or maybe a third card, and then you can kind of whole new world to fill up. You always kind of want to land this before that, because there's a world where off the whole new world you don't draw another whole new world, and you can't continue to cascade into bombs. So because this deck, a lot of it is like lower end, and sometimes if you draw that whole new world and you draw a bunch of 1 drops, 2 drops, 3 drops, whatever, then this kind of allows you to fetch or like dig for that other copy of whole new world, which will inevitably draw you the more playable card. So I really like this card. Also, a lot more people are playing Beast, which destroys the Beast Mirror, so I've kind of just wanted to just be safe. Also, it's one of these like rare inkable items. A lot of these items that are super powerful can't be inked, like Magic Mirror. Beast Mirror can be inked, so if we draw too many, putting them in our inkwell is fine. And this card in multiples is actually insane. Like, I've done it before where you just go like Beast Mirror, draw that card, play that card, then activate another Beast Mirror, or like Beast Mirror, oh, I didn't like this card, this Captain Hook that I drew, and I have like 10, right? Like ink it, play another Beast Mirror, activate it, all that stuff. So this card's just really good in multiples, so that's part of the reason why we're playing so many. And then the other item that we play is the Fishborn Quill. This card, I've seen people play 2, 1, 0. I think this card's fantastic. Also, inkable item, and this card will allow you to essentially double ink per turn. So you'll go ink for turn, then you'll go Fishborn Quill, which then you don't have to show your opponent what you Fishborn Quill, by the way, because it can ink uninkable cards. So it doesn't matter what you're putting in your inkwell, your opponent does not need to know. So this is a good piece of thing that to like hide information. If you want to like tuck away a whole new world, which I've done before, where I get to certain game states where I'm like, if I whole new world, my opponent sees that coming and they want to use it to kind of refresh, I'm not going to allow them to do that. I'm just going to go with the Beast Mirror strategy, which I do a lot of the times, where you're just like, look, I don't need to whole new world to beat you. I'm just going to beat you down with Beast Mirror advantage, because I'm drawing 2 cards a turn and you're just drawing 1. So Fishborn Quill is really good at getting me to that game state, and if I do Beast Mirror and I draw an uninkable and I don't want to play it, I can Fishborn Quill it. And then this is my like Detective Mickey on 3 sometimes, and sometimes preferable over the Detective Mickey on 3. This also lets you ink, like I said, uninkables, but specifically like Detective Mickey, when you're just like, I don't need this and I have enough ink, Fishborn Quill is kind of there to just be an MVP and hyper ramp you. And this with Bell, you're like inking 3 cards a turn, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, that's it for the items. Let's get into the creatures for now. So for Captain Hook, I think this card is just like mandatory in pretty much every like steel deck. I think the stat line is just too good. 1 costed, 3/2 on offense is just ridiculous. This card is just like removal on legs and can pretty much take down and trade up with the best of them. So I really do love that card, and it's like our only turn 1. 2 drops. We got 2 Prince Eric. I've been playing I started with 4, then, you know, I just don't like this card as much in this particular style of deck. We also have the Grandma competing at the 2-drop slot with it as well, and I always much rather land a Grandma, so sometimes it gets hyper saturated on like what you want to land. And then our last 2-drop as well is the best one, and this one we play 4 of. Phil. I like to call him just Phil, right? Mr. Phil here is pretty good because he is very weak, right? When it comes to his willpower or his defense, really, he can pretty much get taken down by anything. But the main reason why he's so good is because he enables your cards like Detective Mickey, makes your Captain Hook attack for 6, lets your Prince Eric attack for 6, lets your Grandma attack for 4. Like, and these are all really good things. Grandma can now become a removal spell. Mickey can now become a removal spell. These cards that are usually too weak and can't take down other cards get support from Phil with his support keyword ability. So that really comes in super clutch, and that's sometimes where you get to where your opponent kind of like tries to swarm the board and fight for the board because they know that you're going to always like discard their hand. You can kind of come down and play the removal game or removal suite with them. So Phil's really good at doing that. So very good, you know, so far in testing. And that's our 2-drop slot. Then we go to our 3-drop slot, which we only have the Mickey and of course what we mentioned before, the Quill. So both of these cards just have one purpose on turn 3 to get you to 5 ink the next turn. So essentially you hit 3 ink, you play a Mickey or a Quill, you go to 4, the next turn you ink for turn and you go to 5, and you can immediately play your 5-drops. And that's super important because in this deck 5 is Whole New World, 5 is Grab Your Sword, 5 is, you know, so many things, a lot of your great 5-drops that you want to be playing, and potentially playing a 5-drop card first so that you can sing those powerful 5-cost songs like Whole New World and Grab Your Sword and Let It Go and things like that. So yeah, Mickey's just great, obviously self-explanatory. Like I said, with Phil he becomes a 4/3. Just think about that for a second. Pretty good. Next is Belle, which, you know, some people may or may not play. I'm going to tell you right now, this is the most expensive part of the deck, and you do not need to play it. Belle is not 100% mandatory. If you're not going to play Belle, a good replacement is the 3-lore Maleficent. The 3-lore Maleficent is also a 5-drop, so it plays into the whole synergy of the deck, and it could quest for 3. It's not 5, but it's always 3, right? Belle's not always 5, right? Belle is a lot of the times 1. And what I like to use Belle in this deck specifically is like I play the Belle down. It's instant pressure. Your opponent has to kill it even though it can't hit for 5 lore yet, and then I use it to kind of like bulk up my inkwell. If I get my inkwell much larger than my opponent's, 2 or 3 times their inkwell, then I'm able to do a lot more things. I'm able to beast mirror a bunch of cards, and I'm able to dig into my deck a lot deeper. So Belle, it does have that constant threat of luring potentially for 5, but what I really like from her is being able to quest multiple times, empty my hand, and then kind of refresh for a new hand. Then we play 4 Beast. Beast has been great. I mean, a few different things, right? He's a 5-drop, which is fantastic where we want to be. He's a 4/4. Stat line is really, really solid. He's got 2 lore, which is actually super relevant, especially down the home stretch when you're trying to outrace your opponent against aggro decks if you need to catch up. Fantastic. All good at those things. And he has a special ability called Break. He's actually able to break or destroy any type of items on board. So more notably, this is why we have such a good matchup against Purple Red, is because, or the Ruby Sapphire deck, I think it's, no, Ruby Amethyst, which is red purple. We have a good matchup because this kind of destroys their mirror, it destroys their shield, it destroys their cauldron, it destroys whatever. Like, they play so many different items. They could play a pocket watch, kills pocket watch, right? It kills so many things in the mirror. Kills their mirror, kills their quill, you know, like I said, I can kind of keep going on. I mean, some yellow decks play lantern, kills lantern, right? So very powerful card, even if it doesn't kill anything, still very good. I've been liking it a lot, and it's inkable. Definitely, you know, a plus. And then our 5-drop sweep continuing. Let me keep all the 5-drops here so you can see. So the Beast, and then we go Aurora. I like Aurora a lot because 5-drop, once again, inkable, great. 2 lore as well, all great things. The 3/5, not the most exciting or impressive, but she does have high defense, which is really going to be good with this other card that I'm going to talk about. But Ward is just such a powerful ability, especially against these hyper control decks where they're trying to like kill your dudes and kill your bombs and, you know, dragonfire you and do all this stuff. Aurora gives all your other cards a ward, so essentially your opponent cannot target them. They have to target the Aurora first, so they have to kill the Aurora, then be able to select the other cards. So that's super, super good. They can't smash you or fire the cannons or whatever. And then to round out our 5-drop slot is Jasmine. Jasmine surprise pick, this one's actually been surprisingly good, right? She says on play or on quest, or on play and on quest, she can remove 2 damage counters from each one of your creatures. So this is especially powerful with Phil and his ability to support, you know, your Mickey Mouses of the world, your cards with like just high willpower, you know. Jasmine, right? She's got 4, so she can now ram into something. You can play Jasmine, remove the damage. So Jasmine can kind of come in and make sure that you have that stability and have that like increased willpower on your dudes, which is extremely important, especially when you need to keep cards like Aurora, you know, nice and healthy so that they don't die, so that they can keep up their ward abilities or, you know, whatever it is. So Jasmine is surprisingly good. The worst part about this card is that it only has 2 attack stat, which is, you know, pretty underwhelming, but she does everything that she needs. Like I said, it's a 5-drop, has 5 willpower, quest for 2, and is inkable. So she's been really good and actually surprisingly powerful. So definitely pick up your copies, because I think that is an understated card for that, just for that utility. Then we cascade into the 6-drops. These are some more powerful bombs. These are cards that usually you're playing like post A Whole New World. So Tinkerbell, obviously being able to spread damage, 1 damage to the whole board, and then being able to loom infinite pressure by kind of just being like, look, if you quest or go sideways or attack or whatever, if Tinkerbell takes you down, she's going to go and shoot 2 damage at something else. So super powerful card. Love it. Staple in pretty much every steel deck. And then we play 3 Scars. I've actually liked Scar a lot because it plays to this whole narrative where like, I'm gonna challenge you, I'm gonna attack your dudes, I'm gonna make sure that I don't take like lethal damage, and I'm gonna be able to play things that you don't see coming, right? So like a lot of the times they're just like, all right, I'm gonna quest with this, because like worst case, what is he gonna do? He's gonna have to like trade So that was the deck, guys. If you liked anything that you saw in this video, make sure you check out our TCG affiliate link down below, where you can actually shop from anyone on TCG Player while supporting the channel and continuing to make sure that we produce great content like this, as well as the Lorcana tour, which we're going to pop up on the screen right here. Our upcoming destination being this weekend in Denver, Colorado. So if you're in the area, we're going to be putting up a case plus more, and if you do the math, that's over $1,000 in pricing. It's got limited seating. It's going to be one of our smaller tour stops, but we're definitely looking to scale up as soon as Miami TCG Con comes up and the Galaxy Con in Columbus, Ohio. So if you're looking to play in some competitive Lorcana events, make sure you guys check those out, because they're going to be extremely exciting, and we have a lot more announcements down the works with those venues. With that being said, thank you guys again. Till next time.